everybody's doing good. Everybody's had a good day at work, and now you're sitting back, relaxed, ready to talk some fishing. Got a great show in store for you. Got Nick Brown of the NPFL, as you can see over there, going to talk with us a little bit. We're going to pick his brain tonight about not only the upcoming 2026 season, what he's catching fish on right now. Also, he's going to be fishing in a championship here too as well. So lots to do. Got Tony in the house with me.
What's up?
I think Nick, your service is a little bit spotty. You're kind of going in and out a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. All right. So how are you, buddy?
I'm good. A little cold, and apparently my service is spotty, but other than that, I'm all right.
Well, it happens. It happens. If it goes bad, we'll definitely let you know. Everybody's there in the comment section. Hope you guys are doing great tonight. So, what's up, Superior Trailers of Georgia? How you doing? So I talked to you the other day, and I was glad we were able to connect. You've been on the show a time or two, and Tony said he remembered you being on and everything. Tony, were you on the last time he was there?
I want to say I was on. I can't remember if I know I was running the boards. I'm pretty sure I was on.
I think you were. So.
Yeah, he was on. He was on there last time.
Yeah, okay. I thought so.
I thought so too. Now, you're in Texas, right?
So I reside in Texas, but I'm actually in North Carolina right now working.
What do you do? What are you working on in North Carolina?
I actually build custom homes and got a couple projects I've been working on back here. I'm actually helping my sister with a project right now.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, I know that on your NPFL angler profile or whatever, it says Texas Lake Fork is your home lake and all that. Have you had a chance to fish it at all here lately, or have you guys been frozen like we've been frozen?
So we had quite a bit of ice and stuff before we turned around and came back. But I was out on the water, did some stuff with some guys, and took out and dialed some guys' boats in for them and helped them out a little bit. But yeah, I was able to do a little bit of fishing, and fork is fork. They're big and mean and fun to catch if you're patient.
I'll tell you what. Kyle Brown, hey, listen, if you want one of these Sunline hats, go to sunlineamerica.com and you can order you one right there. So there you go. Get you one. They're good looking hats. It wears really good. I like wearing it. All right. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk some NPFL. I'm going to pick your brain about fishing too, but let's jump right into it before we get on the 2026 season. You've got a championship coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
We do. So the top 40 anglers in the AOI from last year obviously qualified to go to the championship. So year before last, I guess it'd be 24 season. We had it fall. We all know about that. And then Hamrick won that one. And then we're actually headed to Lewis Smith Lake in Alabama. I believe we start practice on the 22nd of this month, and we'll be having our championship up there for the 2025 season.
Are you guys, is info off limits on, what's the info rule with the NPFL? I can't keep up with all of them.
Are we delayed?
I think it's giving you a delay on your side. I think the reception on your side is kind of dragging. Yeah, he definitely doesn't
hear me all right?
Now. I can hear you, but your the screen's froze up.
Yeah, something going on there.
Yeah, so you might have to move.
Sorry, we were lagging a little bit there. I don't know if it's you or me. I guess it's me. But we have we changed to 30. Yeah. We changed to 38 or 30 days.
I'm good. I was actually going to ask him, because you hit the info rule, so I was already my first question was basically how he was going to attack Smith Lake because it's a different.
Yeah, it's weird. I've got
different style fishery.
Full bars on everything. So.
I know he fishes all over, but that's a different creature.
Can I freeze up?
Well, that's exactly what I was going. That's why I asked if the info rule was in effect. Let me see if I can bring him back on here. Let's see here. I see you, but you're still pretty blurry.
And we got a screenshot of that.
We got a great screenshot of that.
It looks like you got a bad Budweiser.
That's exactly what it looks like. Some of my past right there. We don't know if we want to revisit that. So he's moving spots when he gets to a space. I can kind of tell on the side where he's going to get to where he needs to be. But anyway, you guys, hey, listen, Greenback Tactical. Glad to be back. Been having to watch the next morning. You guys are building something great. Thank you very much for that. We like to think we are. All right, let's see. I'm not getting a picture, Nick. I'm still here. I'm talking, but we can't see him. That's it. I
Yeah.
know. And listen, Nick's always delayed.
That's
He'll get it figured out. It's North Carolina.
the great thing about live shows.
You know what? You got to have some guts to do what we do. Do you
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, there's definitely a reason we get on early.
Let's try it. All right. So Nick, there we go.
That
Now
looked better.
It looked better.
He
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
may have to start all over.
Yeah, you might. I don't know if he can hear us not. But anyway, so look. So let me go ahead and give you guys out there the NPFL schedule while we're waiting, and we'll talk about that. He's going to keep ticking in and on. Let me try him one more time. Can you hear?
How about that?
That is a lot better.
A lot better.
I took you off the house Wi-Fi and put you on my regular phone. I think I'm pretty much in the same place we did our interview last time, and I had to do that. I remembered it after you guys started.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Looking down at my phone signal or my phone skill.
Listen, we all struggle. Trust me. You're on the right podcast when it comes to struggle bus and all that. All right. So what I had asked you, because we're going to talk about the NPFL Championship on Smith Lake. What are the info rules? Are you guys off limits from talking about it right now?
You know what? I wouldn't honestly know, and the reason for that is I don't ever talk to anybody about anything. I just steer away from it. I believe I think it's 30 days this year, but the thing is it's the rules from last year. So is it last year's rules, which is a year, or is it 30 days because it's championship? So it's kind of a big question thing. So I just don't talk to anybody.
So we'll just play it safe. How about that?
Don't tell me nothing. Well, and I ain't reading the comments. They're off. So if somebody comes through with some smart aleck comments, y'all just have to throw them at me.
No, I like it. Well, the reason this isn't exactly about Smith Lake, but what we noticed, we not noticed, but we know you're from Lake Fork, and now Smith Lake is a spotted bass lake, deep, totally different thing. How does one come from? I would assume power fishing and stuff like that on Lake Fork. What's your mindset going into a lake like Smith?
With the weather and everything, the way it's been, watching some of the tournament trails that have been messing around over there, doing some stuff in the last couple of weeks, everybody's doing the forward facing game, and we can't do any of that now. So going to a spotted bass fishery in February, following all these cold fronts, not being able to use that to go chase bait and stuff like that is going to make it tough. But I mean, I haven't been there a ton. I literally am going to break down a small portion of the lake and try and figure it out. I'm going to go to where I feel like is going to be the best opportunity for me to do good, and that's what I'm going to hang my hat on and not try and scatter myself out all over that lake.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember from our last conversation, you would consider yourself more of a power guy, right?
I am. I mean, I do some finessey stuff. I like to wacky worm. I like to I love frogging and stuff like that. I love to sight fish. I don't mind cranking and, throwing a top water, glide, things like that. I kind of like doing everything. I'm really not super picky. I'll do whatever the fish want to do. As long as I don't have to pick up like a Ned head or something of that nature, I'm out.
I got you. Well, your buddy Jesse Wise is on TikTok, and he says Nick Brown for president.
President of our house, maybe. That's about it. That's just because I'm older and dirt.
Is that it? Well, that's another thing too. So on the road, you're with Jesse and you're with Baron Adams.
Yes, sir.
And then possibly for the championship, Hank Cherry.
Hank Cherry will be rooming with us this year for the just for this championship event, and then he's got a few buddies. I think Mosley and them are coming over from the elites this year to fish with us, and I imagine he'll probably run because that's kind of his crew. So I imagine that. I stayed with Hank last year at U-Fall. He stayed with me and Jesse out there, so he's a lot of fun.
Well, hopefully, we can make that right before the championship starts. We can do that house episode where we can get all you guys on and kind of pick your brains and all that. Tony, what was we talking about before? When we were talking about, I think it was me. You might be meaning somebody else. The power you were wanting to know about coming from Lake Fork over to Smith and all that.
Yeah, and that's what he just discussed that as far as like that was going to be my first question is how do you transition from that type of fishing to a Smith Lake style fishing, just because we're familiar with that spotted bass type fisheries over this way, and it's a big difference. I know you fish all over, so I mean you've had the experience, right, but it just makes it to me, it's night and day difference. I mean, people in the comments are like, well, it's fishing, and he's not wrong. It's fishing, but it's a different fishery altogether. So.
Yeah, it is, and here's the thing: what most people don't realize, uh, spotted bass fishing is real good in the wintertime with the drop shot, or it can be at times. And Lake Fork is probably one of the best drop shot fishing lakes on the planet. People don't realize it. Everybody comes down there, big baits, big bass, big dreams, got the whole scenario going on. But to be honest with you, I've caught as many big bass on that lake with a either a top water or a drop shot as anything. So I'm super comfortable doing that, and I'm probably going to fish just about the same way I would fish there.
What are you throwing on your drop shot?
I'm a robo worm guy. I'm just straight up robo worm, and there's two colors that I throw. The only two colors that I believe are that are any good for me, and it's a confidence thing.
Yeah, that was what I was getting to ask Tony. Is drop shotting on Lake Fork different than drop shot down here on Lake Lanier? Because we had who was it that was on one of our guests recently? We're talking about drop shotting like old monsters and stuff, big long worms, but he's going with the robo worm, which I wouldn't have. I would have thought. Eric says it's two different worlds for sure.
And that's what, and I was referring to Crank and Yankin's comment, and like I said, he's not wrong fishing. I mean, you can go out to like with Dowie or, any of the, spotted bass, and you're going to catch 100 1 pound, 12-inch bass, whatever, all day long. I mean, and that's to me, that's the different style of fishing. Like to me, you're going to catch fish, but you end up with 1,000 of those little bitty fellas on there.
Okay, and the most important thing people want to know right here: what are the colors?
What are the colors? What color robo worm?
I don't think you're going to get that. But
hey, you know what? I have no problem because there's one thing I believe in this world is that you can't catch another man's fish. You can tell me all day long how to go catch your fish with your bait, and unless you establish confidence in that bait in your own time frame and in your own manner, I don't believe that it's detrimental. I love a 4.5-inch robo worm, and red crawler is my number one. And then shortly behind that will be Martin's Magic 3, which is the purple, laminate with a little bit of brown on the bottom. And the 3 has got usually a little bit of that red flake in there, just like the red does. But what a lot of guys don't know is, most guys want to Texas rig that thing. And I've learned in the wintertime, especially fishing on Fork, that we wacky rig it through the egg sac of the worm. It causes it to fall a little slower when it's down there, and you just hold the rod still. Once it hits the bottom next to a stump or a dock or whatever, that worm will sit there and twitch and wiggle just like a Senko does. And sometimes just dead sticking that thing, drop it in there, pick it right out, just like you're flipping. Drop it in, pluck it out. Drop it in, pluck it out. So that's how we fish it. So I want a lot of money doing that.
Do not say that Nick Brown will not give you some juice, because he just gave you some juice right there.
Yeah,
I want to say the last time he was on, he gave us some juice, and I think we watched a lure sell out online when he was on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, you're right. We did. I think we sold out Mark Pack's little minnow.
Yeah. That is exactly right. You're right.
I remember watching that happen real time because I was running the boards, and I looked at it. I saw them on Tackle Warehouse. And by the time I got my phone back up, they were gone.
Yeah. That was a player for me up there at Douglas. First thing in the morning, I use that a little bit on a Carolina rig and on a scrounger head just a little bit, and some of that shad spawn stuff. And then of course we went to flip it after that. And that was a tournament. We had an interview right before Douglas.
I love it. I remember that now. That was a good time. Now, Clayton Belmont wants to know, do you prefer pure largemouth lakes as opposed to multi-species, throwing in those smallmouth and the spots?
The thing about spotted bass fisheries and largemouth fisheries when they're combined, say like you go to Sam Rayburn, you're never going to win on spotted bass there. You can, just like Lanier, you can win on Lanier with spotted bass. So, it doesn't really bother me because you're already going to know what the predominant, fish is that you need to go after to win that event. But you can get derailed a little bit when you get on like a big wad of spots. Say at Rayburn, it's pretty easy when you're just catching them every freaking cast to not leave and go do what you need to do and go chase a big largemouth around.
Right. I totally get that. Now, of course, 2025 was a different year for the NPFL. Of course,
yeah,
facing sonar. You had a lot of new anglers. We won't say rookies, but you had a lot of new anglers in there. What was the difference between 2025 and say the year before, as far as you seen it from a competitor standpoint, from just knowing who's there?
I don't know if it was so much about who was there or who wasn't there. It was kind of fun, poking at, Hackney or somebody and saying, it's kind of cool to call them a rookie or walk up to him in the morning and say, "What's up, rookie?"
That's right.
So, guys like that, it's kind of fun to tease a little bit, or at the dock in the morning when you're tied up next to him. But for the most part, it's kind of like a little weight lifted off your shoulders, because you don't feel like when you're, say it's Santee Cooper and you're flipping or throwing a wacky worm around cypress trees, or you're throwing a chatterbait over top of the grass. In the back of your mind, the whole entire time, you're not thinking, "I should be out here in the middle of this creek wandering around with my neck broke, shaking a minnow or throwing a jerk bait." It was kind of nice to take that all out of the equation. That's, it's kind of it's almost like cutting the lake in half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really, I mean, you think about it, it really eliminates and shuts down a lot of water that you normally wouldn't, that everybody else is feeling like they need to go look at all the time now.
Yeah. So did it make practice and pre-fish and all that easier, knowing that you could kind of look for certain spots along the way?
I think it did. There's places I would have liked to have had it, like up at the St. Lawrence River. I don't think it would have been a big help like at Eufaula. That water was so dirty. I don't even know if the transducer would have worked in it. I mean, that stuff it looked like strawberry quick. So, there's just times that the particles in the water and stuff really mess up the screens, no matter how, you dial them back. And I just don't know if it would have been a giant player, but I don't know. I like it. It doesn't bother me either way. It's fishing. We're all fishing for first.
Let me ask you this: without having forward-facing sonar, has the competition increased for spots now? Because before you had guys, like you said, floating around in the middle, looking at crap that who would ever thought to look there? Do you notice more guys sitting in practice and stuff? Do you notice more guys sitting on stuff that you probably would have been fishing because they're not out there floating around?
I really didn't feel like I ran into that much last year. There was a few times when we were on the bank that some places got a little bit more crowded than they would have. But to be honest with you, what you really seen was a lot of these guys' roots coming out, whether it's guys you don't know or whether it's the guys that are everybody's super familiar with, that that have been on TV. But you're seeing a lot of the flippers and the spinner baiters. Christy won at Santee and
Yep.
chucking his spinnerbait around, and that's a Christie thing.
Yep.
So, and he may have felt like he needed to go live scope, and he may not have won that event. If that would have been the case, trying to keep up with, that was Patrick's home waters. Can you imagine going to Patrick's home lake and knowing that he's going to be running them brush piles and stuff? And he won the last time we were there, I believe, and doing that exact same thing. So it's, and it's tough.
You remember right after that tournament, like that was the headline: spinnerbait wins. What I mean? Everybody was like, spinnerbait win, and it's like, what the hell? Spinnerbait's always caught fish, but because of forward-facing sonar and all that, we don't talk about it as much. But I like that you brought that up. Now, Crankin' Yankin wants to know, is the NPFL the only trail you fish? That and I would say various local stuff.
I fish some local stuff. I fish some champs and things like that. Most of the tournament trails in Texas, they've got a entry fee limit, or they have a winnings limit. If you've won X amount in the last 6 months or 12 months, they don't let you fish. If you pay an entry fee larger than $2,500, they don't let you fish. So you kind of get kicked out of some of that stuff. They're a little bit more flexible back here, but I do jump in some invitationals once in a while. I'll jump in an open. I think they capped out like at the MLF this year. I was going to jump in a couple of the ones that they had there, but I think as long as they're full, they'll keep everybody from jackpotting. So we may be out on that one, but if it opens up, I may jump in one or two of them.
I like that term, jackpotting.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard it called that, but I get it 100%. Do we know who RM Fishing 88 is? Because YouTube changed the name. He actually acts like he knows you.
Yeah, that is Ricky Morris. He is new to the NPFL this year. He got with me last year. We actually met last year at a lake. We were sight fishing the same pocket, and he has no rules in his head is about how far away you should get from somebody. So he literally like had 1 foot on the deck of my boat and 1 foot on the deck of his boat fishing. So, but he has no morals. So
Uh-oh.
I tell everybody to watch out for him. But no, he's a good dude. He's a guide up on Lake Texoma and Bodark, and does real well up there. And he's a fun guy to be around. And I think he'll be an asset to the NPFL. I think he'll be a lot of fun. I bet you can see him take some people's money this year.
Good. I was just like earlier, he had a comment, I can catch your fish, LOL. And I'm looking at that going like, okay, I don't recognize that name. He goes, but you can catch mine too. And I'm like, okay, he's got to know him. And
I didn't even see that, and I already knew what he was going to say.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there like, you have to be careful. You know, I don't know exactly because they changed it. YouTube changed something a few months ago, and everybody's names went to something totally different. Got one on TikTok, Nick D. I've been working in Texas for a year and can't find a single tournament around Toledo or Rayburn. It's blown my mind that they don't have the local stuff popping like back home around here. Now he's from here. Any suggestions on when he can find a tournament around Toledo or Rayburn?
I would tell him to go ahead and get on Facebook or Google JC Outdoors, or I would Google Media Bass. And they've got some local small stuff. I believe Fisher's of Men is still down there. So if he wants to fish little stuff, that's good places to start. If he wants to fish something with a little bit bigger entry fees and bigger payout, then he's going to be looking at Bass Champs or Texas Team Trail. I think they probably, those lakes down there, they got a tournament 4 or 5 days a week. They've got something going on all the time. So he just ain't looking in the right place. I think if he was at the ramps or around the ramps on Saturdays, you can't hardly park there without getting flyers put on your truck for the next event.
Okay, there you go. So what he's saying, Nick D, is they're there. You just got to look for it. Cranking the Yankee said Texas. Where in Texas? I assume he's wanting to know where you're from.
So I was living pretty much right on Lake Fork, and I moved over to Hawkins, Texas, which is about 15 minutes from Fork. So it's still considered my home lake, but right there on Fork.
Okay. Tony, you got anything? If not, I'm gonna jump on this schedule. If you got
go for the schedule, because that was gonna be one of my questions. Go for the schedule.
So here's the NPFL schedule, and the first question I got is, what are you looking forward to the most? This is for 2026. So after the championship on Smith, in March you got the Harris Chain in Florida. April you got Wright-Patman in Texas. Lay Lake in Alabama's in May. Logan Martin in June. St. Lawrence July, Lake George in September. Of those lakes, Harris Chain, Wright-Patman, Lay Lake, Logan Martin, St. Lawrence River, Lake George, which event are you looking forward to the most?
Let's see. Really going to have to think hard about this, but I believe since I live like an hour and 6 minutes from Patman, then I'm looking forward to that one. And I promise you that Barrett Adams is, and I promise you Jesse Wise is, because I think all of us top 10 that event last time. So, but really looking forward to that. Ryan Satterfield will be a handful out there. He lives right there locally. That's going to be a good event. It's not a giant lake. I cannot wait to see what kind of rabbit some of these guys try and pull out of their hat. But that lake is they're going to think it's easy to figure out, but it's not super easy, and water levels are going to play a huge factor.
Yeah, I kind of knew that was going to be your answer, but in the back of my mind, I was like, say Logan Martin, I was something else. But I get that. I knew it was coming, but which one of these do you least like?
I tell you what, I tell people this all the time. That I've been asked this question a couple different times already this since the off season started, but I like them all. Florida is Florida. It could hang you out to dry, or it could be absolutely great. With all these cold fronts, it's probably pushing everything back, and it might make our tournament really good. Might be a Drew Cook special. But I would have to say that, I always do super good at Logan Martin in practice and catch nice fish in practice. And as soon as the tournament starts, like the bottom falls out for me. It's like all I can do to catch 10 or 11 pounds. I don't know what it is. I don't have a lucky horseshoe like Jesse Wise does,
Mm-hmm.
but that dude catches them there. He just randomly, I think I'll just put in and go to this point, and I'll just catch 15 pounds here today. So, yeah.
We got guys like that around here. Tony, what was your question about the schedule?
Well, you actually asked the exact questions I was going to ask. I was going to ask you which one he liked and which one he disliked the most. So you actually hit exactly where I was going with that.
My bad.
No, you're fine. Because the Logan Martin thing, that lake, I can go out there and have fun practicing. Like I'm like you, I can go out there and have fun practicing and catch them in the grass, catch them on the points with a jerk bait, do all that stuff, and then I go to get in a tournament and it's like cricket, or you catch a bunch of little 12-inch fish. But that lake's if they're pulling water, that makes a complete difference. I mean, I made a run all the way up the river because I was catching them 2 days before, only to have to make the run back down the river because it wasn't pulling enough water. So,
what's crazy is they turn on the water up there, and if you're up there when they turn on the water, the fish bite immediately. But it takes for that water, unless they pull at both dams at the same time, for that water to get down to the lower end. They may not even know that it's even happening down there for 2 more hours after the upper kicks in. So that's what's kind of strange on that place. I think you got to hit it pretty good, or know a little bit about it, or know some sneaky stuff on that place to catch them good.
And there's some guys out there that I talk to that they know some stuff about it, and I'm like, I wish y'all would get in the boat with me, or I'll go with y'all because I need somebody to show it to me. So
the problem is you can catch fish everywhere on that lake. It's nothing to catch 40, 50 fish, 60 fish a day, whatever. But the size, getting anything 2 pounds or bigger is that's one of those you just got to do what you think is going to be best to catch the biggest fish you think you can catch, and go for it and hope it works out. So
right,
all right.
absolutely.
Cranking and yanking said my mic is low. Do I sound low to you guys now that we're live?
Maybe a little bit, but I turned my speakers down because I felt like they were really loud.
Let me turn this thing up. Tell me if I sound a little bit better.
You got a little bit louder there.
All right. I don't want to blow his old ass ears away. That's what I'm trying to do. All right. Anyway, all right. Now that Cranking and Yanking can hear me, what are some of your favorite Texas bands? I love Whiskey Myers and Treaty Oak Revival. That's from Coleman Jones Fishing. We got to know what kind of music you listen to, dude.
Man, I listen to a little bit of everything. It just depends on if I'm trying to get jacked in the morning going fishing, or if I'm, I like I like Dirty South. I like the Whiskey Myers. All their stuff is good. Man, I listen to everything. My playlist is huge. People get in my truck and they're like, "You listen to this?" Or they'll be like, "Oh, this is what I expected you to listen to." So I'm about it all.
What's that girl I fussed about at lunch today? Tony,
I missed that one.
She's the one fussing about doing the political statements on the Grammys.
Yeah, I
must. Oh, Billie Eilish.
Yeah, she on your playlist?
No, I ain't got no Billie Eilish. I'm more of a I could be Rob Zombie, or I could be Dr. Dre, or I could be
there you go.
Whiskey Myers. I'm everything.
Okay, good. We just wanted to make sure you wasn't a Billie Eilish, like a closet Billie Eilish fan.
Yeah.
Dustin Black knows me. He wants to know Van Halen.
Yeah.
You a Van Halen dude?
Van Halen's okay. That is that's a Kevin Rogers. He lives and dies Van Halen.
Me too. We was hoping you'd say, yeah, it's the greatest band ever. Top 3 techniques if you only get 3 forever.
If I only got to have 3 left?
Yeah, that's it. Just choose 3.
Techniques?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be frogging, sight fishing, probably a wacky worm.
Okay, well, since I'm a wacky worm lover like that, we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Now, do you throw a true wacky, or you going more to the Nico? I think Nico, I call that progressive wacky worming. Are you old school wacky worming, or are you a progressive?
Yes. I usually have one rod with a wacky worm on it. And I actually am not a true wacky wormer. I'm a flick it guy. I like the Buckeye style flick it heads.
Mm-hmm.
The little weighted 1/8 ounce flick it heads with the wire weed guard. I like those on a Senko. And then I like a Yamamoto makes a Sensei worm that's pretty awesome, and I like to run a little bit of weight in it, and I Nico it, but I'm a little different. I don't use the bands. I guess I still like to rig straight through the worm. So
that's the way I am. The only time I'll put a band on is if I got to sit back and make a bomb ass cast, like stay way away from it. I might put a band on it, but for the most part, I'm through it as well. Go ahead.
What's your reasoning for not using a band? Just curiosity, because I don't throw a lot of wacky. I've got more than Nico, but what's the reason for not using a band at all?
Because they're a pain in the ass.
Well, number one, I feel like they slow down. Even if you sit in the boat in the morning and rig up 2 or 3 packs of them and put weights in them and all that, because I'll go ahead and weight a bunch of worms and stuff. Really, the only time I use them is if I'm skipping and doing a lot of hard, skipping under docks, because that sensei worm's not real big. It's about the size of a
Right.
pencil. I feel like my hookups are better. I don't feel like I lose nearly as many fish. I feel like I can just do the gentle pull and reel like you would drop shot, and I don't have to lay into them.
Right.
I guess my hookup ratio is just higher.
What size hook are you using?
I use a number 1 BMC.
Okay, perfect like that. And I know you're with Kistler rods.
Yes, sir.
So give me your Kistler setup for your wacky worm.
Light, medium, heavy helium. That's basically the gold standard for a spinning rod for them. So what they got is a light, medium, heavy is what they call it, which has got some backbone from about the 3rd or 4th eyelet down. The tip, it's got 15, 16 inches of tip. That's light enough to shake a little bit. A little too heavy to shake minnows and things like that, but it's pretty good for doing all the whack in and flicker, the Cinco and things like that we're doing. I like a little bit of backbone. I've had 30-pound stringers on that spinning rod and pulled them out from underneath the docks. So I got a lot of confidence in that rod and in my reel combination. I run 20-pound braid and a 12-pound, about a 3 or 4 foot long leader, real short leader, fluoro.
Okay. Well, how about this? Sell me on Kistler rods, because we don't talk Kistler rods on this show a lot. And a lot of guys probably don't know a lot about them. So just give me what do we need to know about Kistler?
So Kistler makes a variety of rods that, everywhere from an entry level rod all the way through to the top. But even, Trey, even with the lighter or lower, entry level rods, the magnesiums, the chromiums, the stuff that's down, a little bit lower, he's got some super high end stuff that's $500-$600. This guy is about his rods. He's one of the few I know that owns a company and walks in there and literally takes the blanks and puts them in his rod, puts them in a tube. He's got a board that he's got these arcs drew on his wall where he goes in and hand picks every blank before he calls it and runs his hand over that thing and puts this bend on there and goes light, medium, heavy, drops it in a little area. He's got little, sleeves or areas or whatever. He drops each one of these rod actions, and then he calls them as he does it. But he hand picks every one of these. They hand spline them. They make sure that, they're not just throwing eyelets on the rod. These rods are chose, and they all rods have a natural arch. They're not just perfectly straight before they put the eyelets on them. Every one of them is just like a 2x4. It's got a crown to it. Mm-hmm. So they set them all up. But the lightness, the sensitivity, if you ever get around where you could pick one of these things up, or you're ever around me at the lake, come see me. I'll let you put your hands on them all you want. Being able to set them on the floor and close your eyes and roll them across the tile or across some carpet and feel or even your boat carpet and be able to almost count the fibers. That's how they're super sensitive. And like I said, I was always sold on them with the weight and the sensitivity. I don't lose the eyes don't fall out of them. He uses super, super good products. I've been with him, I think, since 2004. And I wouldn't change and go with any other rods. I would have trouble. I mean, I've been offered, and there's no way.
I think that last statement right there, Tony, speaks for itself more than anything.
Yeah.
Because, in this day and age, it's like rod company says, hey, we'll give you X amount of rods and some dinero. And you're like, no, dude, I've been with this one forever. Not changing.
Yeah. Right. I bought a Kistler a couple of years ago, and I loved it. I mean, it's great. And unfortunately, I broke the tip on it last year, and it broke my heart. No, my only problem with Kistler was they were always not, and it's a good thing for the business, but they were always out of stock. You go online, the guys are buying it by the bundles. They're not buying it one or two. They're going in there and buying the whole line out, it seems like.
Well, he's changed. He's added on. He's gotten bigger. He's got more people wrapping because these are all hand built in Texas. They're built right there in Magnolia, Texas, and he's got people on their hand building these rods. A lot of times, if you go on the site and it's not there, you should call because chances are they're on the dryer and they just haven't put them up on the deal yet. And if you go in there and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this," and he's got it, he'll get with you. And even with the warranty claims, if you break that rod yourself, they'll still let you do a warranty claim on that rod. You can still get a hold of them guys, and they'll treat you right on it. They may give you an amount off your next one, or may just charge you a $50 replacement fee.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to look into that because I'm one of those guys. If I break it, because it was my fault that it broke, it definitely wasn't a defect. It was my fault. I'm always one of those guys. Well, that's a lesson learned. Don't do that again.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%.
You reckon they'd warranty my buddy who dropped his rod off his boat and then called and asked me if the company would warranty it? I had a guy do that. He called me and goes, "Hey, that rod," I'm not gonna say the name of the company. He goes, "Hey, that rod I bought from you a month or two ago." He goes, "I need a warranty claim." What happened? Well, I dropped it off the boat. And I'm like, "Dude, I don't think that's covered." I don't think they're
Now,
gonna do that. Maybe I should have called and asked. I don't know.
is Kistler still doing the discount program? Like you join the program and they still do that the way they used
Yeah.
to?
Yeah. And hey, anybody that's out there, you can, message me on Facebook or whatever if you want to. You can go right on their website. They're recruiting right now. I think they've got like 2,500 members. They'll bring you as an entry level, and it's not a year and a year and a year thing to get to 10% or 15%. They're liable to bring you in. They'll tell you what you're going to do by kind of just go on there and fill out their pro staff deal. And if you want, put my name in the column. Say, hey, I was referred by Nick Brown. I have no problem with you, putting my name on it, and then they're going to ask you to do some things. They'll ask you to do some posts and things like that. And it's pretty cool because it helps them with the rod sales. It helps get rods in people's hands that normally probably wouldn't be able to find a Kistler rod at a local store or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But other than order from Tackle Warehouse or directly from them. But the thing is when they put you on that program, you could climb on that program to be a legacy member. You're probably going to be a guide or something along that nature that's fishing every day and got your hands and putting those rods in people's hands all the time. But they'll look at your situation and what you're doing, and the more you do for them and the more he sees it, the more you're tagging, you can climb pretty quick. So I think Brody Lucky, you guys know who he is? He's a kid that won all the BFLs and stuff, and
I know the
he's
name.
he's fishing invitationals. He's young. We just brought him on. He's on the pro staff with us now. So him and Cordion are fishing the invitationals. I think they're at the Airstream right now. But dude, they're just a super small company, and they're great. If you really need something, we got a lot of new stuff coming out in March. Kind of excited about. Like I said, anybody wants to put their hands on them, just holler at me. Or if you want to interested in getting on that pro staff and get your foot in the door and do a little rod deal with somebody, you might give them a whirl.
I like that. So big fishing Biggins on TikTok says, I'm going to do that. I'll tell him Nick sent me. That's what I was going to do. I'm going to set, Nick said that you would be the official rod of the live well. That's what I heard. That's what he told me to tell you, and set me up, babe, like that.
Now,
as much as you're on there, you might be surprised at the answer you get because most people are pretty open.
Are they still doing reels?
Yes, they are. Yeah, we got the chromium. Yeah, we got the chromium feathers. And, yep.
I knew that was right when I got in. They were doing the real thing, and I didn't get like I said, when I was looking at them, man, it's like I go in there like, hey, I need this, and I'm like, well, that's out of stock. I need this, and it's out of stock. I'm like, well, come on, So,
but it means it was popular.
Yes, but I mean, like I said, he would put a drop out or through email or whatever he was doing, and like I said, by the time you get on there, you're going, well, dang, those guys snatched those up quick. So
they are literally like a Sakamata shed.
Yeah.
If he gets a round done and he puts them up on the site, I mean, the guys they pluck them right off there. The guys know what they want and they know what they want to use, and it's and some of them they get favorites. Like there's guys that only use heliums, guys that only use Z-bones. There's guys that'll only use magnesiums. They brought the magnesium line back last year. Now we got the new Abrams line out, which those are just like all 7.3 straight across the board and different weights and casting and spinning. But if you guys don't see something on the website that you guys want, give them a holler down there, and don't be afraid to push button 2 and ask for sales and talk to somebody and say, hey, I want this. When can I get it? How long will it take? Because they may be right there in the process of drying them and ready to bag them up. So
good deal.
And Nick Brown said so. So there you go.
Yep, right. Nick Brown said, get the rods going or message me if you can't find them, and we'll figure out how to get you rod.
That's right. Kistler Rods, the official rod of the live well. All right. So, listen, it just rolled right off the tongue, right there. It sounds good to me.
That's right.
And Trey is a veteran.
He is.
Okay, that's important. That is
important. That's another good thing.
Yeah. Yep. Tony does not miss those veterans right there. He always.
I try to call them out if they're there.
Excellent. Yep. I'm glad you said that. All right. It looks like Texas and Florida survived a fish spawn better than the lakes more north because of the frigid winter. How did it affect Texas? I guess because of the cold weather that we got this year. Is it going to mess the spawn up?
I think it might push it back a little bit, but it's not always water temperature. You know what I mean? The water temperature has a lot to do with it, but I think it's daylight. You know, I truly believe that daylight is one of the biggest factors on egg production and when they're going to spawn. But I mean, there's so many weird things that happen across the country, from Florida fish spawning almost all year long to, I mean, you can go catch spawning fish in Texas right now if you go to the power plant lakes. So temperature has something to do with it. I think it's life cycle. I think it's when they're born. I think maybe if they're born in that January, or they were late in January, and then I think that that's basically when their year comes around. It's just like a birthday for you. So
It's almost like deer hunting, the way you kind of described it right there. A fawn that comes in late, born late, breeds late, kind of gets that cycle going. I can see that.
I honestly think it is. I mean, and in my mind, I think it is, because like Santee Cooper, 2-3 years ago when we were there were supposed to be no fish on the beds. It was May. They're supposed to be done. Fish are done. No spawning going on. I caught all my fish spawning. Every fish I caught was off the beds. So, and there wasn't supposed to be any of that going on. The guys weren't even looking for it because, actually, I think me and Cox and I think just me and Cox. That was the only two people I know that actually caught spawning fish.
Okay.
There you go.
It's been cold here. Dane says he found ice floating on Allatoona today across from Victoria. And listen, now this right here that Cranky and Yankin said, this is what I've always heard about crappie. Crappie, however you people that say it wrong, but crappie. when the dogwoods bloom. I've heard that my entire life, that when the dogwoods bloom, crappie are spawning. So I don't know if there's one of those things for bass. I don't know. Now you're with Bass Cat, right?
I am.
What Bass Cat boat are you driving this year?
I'm driving a Lynx.
Let me pull. Let's see. You drive the new Lynx?
Yep, the new Predator. Yep.
I'm gonna pull that up right here. Let's see.
That's the one we dropped at the Classic.
Right here. So I'm playing with some new toys on this. So let me see if I pull this up and I got the right boat. Is that it right there?
Believe so. I ain't got my glasses on to be able to tell if it says Lynx down there behind the.
Yeah, it says Lynx SDS.
Yep, STS.
Sell me on a Bass Cat, because I know they're great boats. And why did you choose the Lynx?
I think if people would just ride in a Bass Cat, because I was a little bit on the fence about it when I got it, because to be honest, I was coming out of another brand, and it's a really good, boat brand. And I was kind of a little bit nervous about coming out of that brand and going into a Bass Cat, not having much experience with it. But my mind changed shortly after getting in the boat. And I can name probably 6 other people that have asked me about it. They're all running new Bass Cats now, and every one of them told me the same thing. They're like, I wish I'd listened to you a year ago, when you told me.
Okay.
So what do you want to know about that boat?
So I want to know what was like, okay, so you're coming out of another boat brand to Bass Cat. When you got in it, you got it on the water driving it. What was the first thing that was kind of like an aha, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like you said it, you had to convince yourself. So what were the points that kind of convinced you that you made the right decision?
Probably the most solid boat that you'll get in, that when you're running across the boat, how a lot of times you hear them mystery rattles and the cables in the floor or piping that's underneath or something that's loose or whatever. And new boat or used boat, when you get in a brand new boat of anything, it shouldn't be tinny, hollow sounding. You shouldn't feel like you're running across the water in a porta john. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just for the water slapping at the side for the lack of better things, or a bass tracker or something like that. Just an aluminum bass tracker. I should put that out there. It's just super solid. It was quiet. It was solid. The boat stayed solid. The boat didn't come apart all season long. The handling was awesome. The big water handling was really awesome compared to what I thought it would be. And then it was just more and more. It was the split saddle tanks in the back that are right at 30 gallons a piece. So being able to have almost 10 more gallons than everybody else, especially for big runs going some of them places. I like the depth of the boat. I like that when you sit in it, your knees are more straight out. You're not, your knees ain't above your waistline.
Yeah,
like I said, everything is just super solid. Some people, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Some people don't like the octagon steering wheel or the hexagon steering wheel. Some people don't like the triangle shaped live wheels, but everything on that boat is thought out. Rick did a great job thinking it out. And carving every little niche in that boat the way he did, because he did it for a reason. He made trial and go live wells because fish won't jump out of them. So I haven't had a fish even try and get out of these yet.
I was getting ready to ask you that because I've seen them. I've seen them like that, and I want to know if you had like the specific reason. And that's as good as anything. Have you ever seen one, Tony?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the way they're shaped like that,
Yep.
it is different. And then, of course, Eric says because you want to go fast, Ricky Bobby. So
yeah, too.
Bass Cat has 3 speeds: here, there, and gone.
Yeah.
And of course, now I know Jeff is in. He's in Allison, but he says if you ain't first, you're last. He likes those fast boats too. I get that.
I saw somebody the other day saying something. Maybe you can confirm. I think Bass Cat uses like a 34-ounce carpet, which is like super high on the quality of carpet they're using. So, did we lose Nick?
I don't know if we lost him, but you said a 34. What did you say on the carpet?
I want to say I read it was a 34-ounce carpet that they're using on those boats now. I could be wrong, but I could have swore I just read that somewhere.
Well, I've got Bass Cat pulled up. I don't know. Is he still? I mean, I'm looking at the website.
He's froze.
He's froze up. He'll be back.
Now he's gone.
Now he's gone. I'm looking for the carpet thing. A 28-ounce carpet.
28. I'm telling you, I just read on a guy, because the guy that I bought my lids from for my boat, my deck extension, he builds them, and somebody commented on his post that they had gone up to 34 on some. Maybe it's not all of them. Maybe it's only on certain models, but I thought that's unreal. Because what the old school was like 16-ounce back in the day.
Yeah, and it might be that this might be, I don't want to say an older information on the website, but that's what I'm saying. But it's a badass looking boat. I can tell you that.
I mean, 34-ounce carpet, that's almost like a half-inch thick carpet. I mean, from pad to top of nap. That's a thick carpet, because I think 28's like 3/8 inch. So
there he is. He's back.
He's back.
And listen, sorry about that. People that I post this stuff on my Facebook page, so people will know I'm doing stuff at night. But apparently nobody follows me.
I totally get it. I was going to tell you, listen, dude, if you just need to go to the bathroom, all you got to do is let us know. You're more welcome to go to the bathroom.
I've already went since we've been on here. I'm tough like that.
Are you strapped up with one of them calf buckets and everything down there? Just yeah. 28 ounce. We were talking about the carpet. It says on the stats it's 28 ounce, but what did you say, Tony?
I had read somewhere here the last day or two that they went up to like a 34-ounce on some. Maybe I don't know if it's on specific models, but 34-ounce carpet.
That's a fact. I wouldn't 100% be able to know for sure without checking or asking. But I really don't show anywhere. My first one I had was I had the whole entire sea deck system in it, where I did the whole boat. Top, bottom, everything. That was pretty awesome, except for when it got frosty, it was a little bit slick until it warmed up. But as far as drying and being clean, it was pretty awesome. It does have, full padded front deck and everything on it. And the width of that thing is, most people get up in it, when they get into one of those boats and they step up in the front and they realize how wide that thing is, and they're just like, holy cow, they can't believe, how much elbow room there is in them.
Yeah, right. That was my next thing, is what's the front deck like? Because to me, that's a big selling point, if you ask me, because I have a small boat. You get up there with my partner on our little electric rig, and we're beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
If I want a high end boat, I want him in the next county over, even if he's fishing right beside me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Two guys could easily stand up there and not bump elbows. And if you were twin live scoping or fishing for crappies or whatever, there's plenty of room to move around on those things. So the difference in the Lynx and the Puma, it's got the exact same hull as last year's Puma boat. It's pretty much from the console forward is where it changes. It's got a day box in it. It's got a big front deck. We've got a big front center compartment layout. Just a little bit different tackle organization. They got rid of the net storage up front and some of those little day boxes that were up towards the seats.
I got that. Now, River Rat asked, didn't Bass Cat get the champion hull?
I don't think so. Bass Cat's just straight up always been Bass Cat.
Yeah, I don't think they got the champion hull either.
Okay, well there you go. I have no idea, but Eric said
that's I think when Charger was doing some, I think they bought Champion's hull because they were mixing the boats. Remember?
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. The latch for the live well is a great design on the Bass Cat, and 28 ounces. Did you see Dane's comment there, Tony? He says 28 ounces. Outstanding. So,
well, I think if I'm not mistaken, the Bass Cat was like, before the 34 got brought up, Bass Cat was 28 no matter what, and then it was everybody else was using the what is it, 20 and 16 or whatever the smaller number. Where Bass Cat's always been known, from what I understand, to have a thicker, more plush carpet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Nick, are you one of those barefoot fishing guys, or because that would make a difference?
I'm not. I'm a tennis shoe guy.
Yeah,
I like my on clouds. I'm actually not even a flip flop guy. I get kind of clumsy when I'm in the boat moving around, and most of the time when I'm fishing, it's a rodeo anyway. So
absolutely. All right, let me get back to some of these questions here. People are gonna be like, talk about some fishing, but you like your Bass Cat A1,
yeah,
right? There you go. I like it. And of course, Bass Cat would sound really good as the official boat of the Live Well as well. We'll just keep rolling right down his sponsors and see what we can do because Nick Brown said so. Any lures or techniques you don't like to talk about? Which is why the hell is he going to talk about them?
Yeah, I saw that question. I was like, what?
Pull that back up. What was that? Pull it back up. Interesting.
You ain't ever see that, and you will be seeing it coming.
And you're not going to talk about it, huh?
No, that's mine, and you will see it this year, and it will get released. And when it gets released, and I'm able to produce them fast enough, I will come back on here and let you know where we can, where y'all can get your hands on them. So there ain't nothing better than a new bait for confidence. This is something that I worked on about probably 10, 12 years ago, and it worked really good. And I kind of lost touch with it a little bit and forgot about it, and I've been working hard trying to recreate it, make it a little bit better, and I'm getting there.
That is this your bait, not another company's bait you're sponsored by. This is your bait.
This is mine. I do work with some companies that I'm currently with. It'll be on the roster this year. If they're interested in it, we may talk. So, but as of right now, it's every one of these guys out here, any one of these guys that are pros. They say there's no secrets anymore. But I'm gonna tell you right now, there are a lot of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys that I know that put stuff away before that boat hits the dock every day. They put every scrap lure that's in the bottom of the boat away. They hide everything. They won't even throw the stuff in the trash at the lake for anybody else to go walk over to the can and see it. And I'm not even joking. I mean, they say there's no secrets. There's still some secrets out there that are that are to be had.
I'm glad he admits it, Tony. Because like we know it, but none of the anglers ever admit it.
Right.
Yeah. So I like that. Tony, do you hide your stuff on tournament day? I'm just curious.
No, I don't have anything. I mean, I might not tell somebody what we caught them on if we were pre-practice, something like that. But no, I mean, if you watch me come back in at the end of fishing day, you'll know what I was throwing because it's all in the bottom of the boat.
100% with me. My boat looks like a damn tornado went through it. But with Jesse and Barron, guys that you room with, and I mean, how many secrets are kept from them? Because I know you're close, you're good buddies and all that. How much do you share and how much do you hold back?
We talk about a lot of stuff. I mean, everybody's pretty much got the techniques. I would say Barron owns, I'm pretty sure he owns 5 rods. Yeah, I think about 5.
He's a very simple.
He throws the same 5 things everywhere we go. Every once in a while, he'll come up with a secret, but don't kid yourself either. Barron's got some secrets. He actually shared one with me at Hartwell last year, and it was a help. But yeah, I mean, I have no problem sharing. If Jesse gets something new, he'll share. Jesse's kind of old school. Jesse likes his, he's got his roster that he really likes that he leans on, and he'll try some new stuff once in a while too. But
what was it?
I'm probably the more out there. People don't realize I've got a pretty good sized tackle room. I paint baits. I paint baits for other people. I paint crankbaits. I paint glides. I've made my own glides. I make soft plastics. I do some buzz bait stuff. I've got guys that I work with that sell buzz baits like the one I won on Ozarks. So I mean, I'm more probably apt to try something new and be able to show the fish something a little bit new. I think it gets in my head a little bit. I think I get in my own head. So back in the day, what was it? Probably 2000, 2002 when the big flipping tubes came out.
Yes, it's been a hot minute.
When those things came out, we originally found them. A buddy of mine, Phil Scheuer, longtime tournament partner of mine. He's kind of laid off the tournament fishing, but we still talk all the time. And he stopped at Arkansas Truck and Tackle, I believe in like Joplin, Missouri. It was a truck stop that sold bass tackle. He stopped in there and bought these giant big salty special tubes. And he come up, and that dude walloped us on those things for the longest time. And he wasn't a typical tube fisherman. He would flip it, but this guy would rig this tube with a 5/0 hook. And this tube, I'm talking, is big around as your thumb and probably 4.5 inches long. Put a glass rattle in it, do the whole deal. And then he puts like a 16th ounce tungsten weight on the front, and he pops his rod like shaking a minnow on a 710 extra heavy. He was a Kistler guy. And sits there and shakes that thing on 25-pound and braid and fishes it and swims it back to the boat. That's how he would fish that. He would pitch that tube out there and then swim it through the bushes or down the log sides. Something like you'd never seen before. But that guy, he used to get on me because when I first started flipping and stuff, I didn't know a lot about it. And I was using too light of rods. And of course, I'd get fish hung up, and they'd, during team tournaments, and they'd come off or whatever. But that guy, he would jack them like that thing was a 4x4. And it was always hook set and on the carpet. And but yeah, that's just, when that tube came out, we kept that thing secret. I bet it was probably 5-6 years before guys figured it out, but it was nice having that in our back pocket and trying something new. But I would have never thrown that big stupid tube if it wouldn't have been for him. So it takes somebody to go out there and catch them and make a showing, and then it doesn't take long for it to take off.
I got you. I like how he said all that. Another guy had to convince him, but I remember you mentioned you were talking about how Barron has 5 rods. Like when he came on, and I'm trying to remember, he threw a lipless or a crankbait, a Texas worm. It was very simple because we were trying to do like a year round. Like, what would you throw in April? What would you throw in June? And it was the same damn 3 baits or 4 baits the entire year.
But he throws the same thing all the time.
But he catches fish on them. I remember that, because after he left, I was like, you know what? It really is that simple. Sometimes it really is that simple if you got the confidence of it and everything.
Yeah, he's the 15-pound guy. It's like everywhere he goes. His wife will tell you too. I mean, his wife says it probably more than anybody. He's like everywhere he goes, 15 pounds, 15 pounds. It don't matter. Go to a lake, it ain't got 15 pounds. He's going to catch 15 pounds. That's just Barron.
I like the consistency, right? Archie Haley. I don't know if you know Archie. He goes, why do I not know about this already? I think he's talking about your little bait you were holding up.
Archie, I think I've showed it to a couple people. I think Ricky Moore has seen it, and because I was showing him some prototypes, and he made fun of me, so I'm never going to give him any. And then
what's going to happen is people are going to rewind this, and they're going to freeze it right there while you're holding it up. They're going to be studying it and looking at it, trying to figure out what it is.
Listen, when he showed it, I was already getting my phone up to look for Tackle Warehouse to see if we could sell it out. I was already looking into what
Yeah, it ain't, but it's a pretty good sized bait. It's gonna be a flipping bait, but it's a little bit different, and the way it looks in the water and stuff's a little bit different. But in reality, this was kind of based off of a tube. When it's in the water, it looks a lot like a tube does, just without all the tentacles and stuff to get hung up.
So when we opened up our shop, or it had been open for a while, Colin Steele, who's from up north, walked through the door. First time I ever met him, he goes, "Where's your tube section?" And I was like, "Dude, ain't nobody throwing no damn tubes around here. We don't have a tube section." He goes, "I'm telling you, tubes are the way to go." Now, he wasn't throwing the big ones. I remember the big ones you were talking about. Even Strike King, I think, had a really big, like, monster tube back in the day. But we don't talk about tubes. We never talk about tube fishing at all on this show.
I just bought my first tubes at the East Tennessee show from a guy named J Bros Lures. He's on TikTok a lot. I finally bought some of his stuff, and I picked up 2 packs of tubes. I'm gonna figure them out this year.
You better let me know if it works, dude. What's this? Hey, no, when you were describing how you were doing that, or how he was doing that, in my mind, I was thinking like a swim jig.
Yes, sir.
Like, doing Alabama shake while you're bringing.
He's pretty much Alabama shaking it, but he called it mooching.
So he's mooching the tube through all the brush and everything.
Mm-hmm. He was a tube moocher, and I don't think there's anybody better on the planet. He would do it down rock jetties. He would do it over top of grass. He would do it in lily pads. He would do it down log sides, standing buck brush. I mean, literally pitch it over top of the bush and mooch that thing through the bush and bring it through there. It was pretty unreal. And he's probably the guy that opened the eyes. So what you're going to learn, you said you just picked up some tubes, and the biggest tip I could give you if you're going to fish a tube is when you hook that tube, only hook about 1/8 inch at the top. If you're worried about losing your tube, then it's that big of a deal, then hook it deep and hook that half inch, or hook it like a worm 3/8 inch deep into the deal, bring it back around. But I would use a hook. I always tried to shoot for a hook that's big enough that I could put about an 1/8 inch into the head of the tube, go down, and 95% of the time I let the hook bypass the side of the tube that it comes out on, and I bring it and I texpose it to the other side of the tube. So I bring it just to the tip and only through one side. The reason for that is when you set the hook, you want that tube to tear away, because if it balls up on the hook, your fish are going to come off.
Right.
I mean, it's just, they're constant. It's going to ball up on there and you're going to have trouble getting them on there. But if you just like micro hook that thing just on the top up there, and if it tears and it comes down on the rest of the hook, then turn the tube around and put it on the other side. A tube doesn't have a right side up.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, and you know, if you're going to run a rattle in it, then that it'll help kind of keep the rattle inside of it by having the hook across the end of it. But I would say the biggest trick to hooking fish and landing fish on a tube is that number one thing of just barely hooking that with a wide gap hook across the tip of it and let it tear away. But you're going to be surprised. It's something you can catch fish in the open with it. I mean, I've flipped everything from barge ties on rivers to like I said, any kind of lay down, anywhere you flip your structure bugs. But I mean, everybody on the planet, every boat out there has 1,000 beavers and 1,000 structure bugs and 1,000 D bombs in it. Everybody's got all that stuff. It's the same thing. Right. So, and if it's a flipping bite and everybody out there's throwing the same thing, I mean, I can't help to think that, I mean, sometimes it's just a natural reaction for them, or it's a reaction bite, but I can't help that if they have time to look at it laying in a treetop, and it's that, man, you got to flip in there 6 or 7 times to get bit in this treetop. You just really got to work it through there and ease it through there. I just can't help to think that them little tentacles down there doing something different, or the shape of the tube being different, or the rattle in there, or whatever it may be, or the bubbles coming out of the end of it, because it holds air every time you flip it. Every time you pull it out, it dries out, and you flip it in there and it bubbles. So I think it's something that's long time forgot, and I've never forgotten it. I do good on other things, but I can't believe it ain't making, you know, in some areas of the country, I can't believe it ain't making a big comeback. So,
well, the reason it kind of struck me a little bit was when the dice bait started coming back out. I'm looking at it going, it's the same principle. I mean, you hear about 100%. How some of these guys are fishing those dice baits now, or the koikis, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going, that's kind of the same principle on some of that on the end of it. So I'm thinking, you know, there's some lakes I'm gonna try that and see what happens with it. I appreciate the tips on it, because I've never thrown a tube ever.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did not have tube tips on my bingo card for this episode.
Hey.
I didn't know it was coming. I love it though.
Yeah. I mean, it can't always be the same thing. It can't be shaking a minnow all the time. It can't be a plopper all the time. It can't be a wacky worm all the time. Sometimes it takes just something a little bit different. And if you were rigging that at the house and you're like, golly, you shake it and you dip the tail in the little chartreuse, and you're just like, man, this could be the juice. We're bluegill spawn. I've got a green pumpkin on with a little chartreuse on the tip, and I'm pitching it up around the alligator grass or whatever, or the water willow, and easing it or mooching it through there. So that's going to be the new technique of the week. You watch that word of mooching it is.
Dude, I wrote it down. Tube moocher right here. Because, that's a t-shirt, dude. We got our closet sea riggers, and we got tube moochers now.
I swear to God, if you make that shirt, you've got to send me one.
I'm gonna get it made. But what I'm gonna do tonight is, like, next time my wife busses at me, I'm gonna say, "You're a tube moocher," and just see what the hell happens there.
That's gonna have some double meanings in there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Some entendres.
So with a t-shirt right there. Ken Pruitt said 203 hybrid Bass Cat is an Arkansas champion hull with some tweaks to handle our modern day horsepower. Ty has one. So
yeah. You know what? I've heard of the 203 hybrid. I've heard of people talk about that.
Okay.
Something along that nature, that maybe they had some kind of something that they worked on together or something. I'm not real sure.
Yeah. Ken would know if it was Bass Cat. He would know there. So 203 hybrid.
River
I believe
Rat, Ken would know.
He would know. River Rat got a tournament this weekend on Lanier. Top 3 baits for non-forward facing on the south end of Lanier. And I'm going to throw that to you too, just out of curiosity, because it's, you know, same thing, spotted bass lake, but you're going to Lanier, which is the king of all spotted bass lakes. You don't have forward facing sonar, and you guys start off water temps right now, upper 40s, because of this cold weather we've had. That's what I've been hearing. So other than a crankbait, what else would you be throwing? I mean, I imagine your rock crawler or your Little John might play a jerk bait might play. What else would you be throwing? A tube? Czechoslovakia
Maybe.
warehouse. We sold out the tubes.
Yeah. I would say maybe a small jig, small tungsten jig, or a small finesse jig would probably be good. Me, I'm probably Fritz side 5 in it, or some kind of flat or shad wrap style crankbait. And if I could find a little dirtier water, just because I know to keep the fish a little bit shallower, something a little stained or a little wind. If it's flat, you gotta have a little bit of, with them spotted bass. I think you gotta have a little bit of commotion. It can't be slick and be clear at the same time. I don't think that's a good combination.
Okay, there you go. Tony, Doc says you still have not told us what you used on the Toys for Tots tournament to bring in 22 pounds.
He's referring to the fact that I don't have any secrets. Unfortunately, that's not my secret to tell.
Yeah, I mean, like Doc, all honest, I promise you, he has not told us either. So he is keeping that one tight to the vest.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when the guy that my partner fishes, or my partner that I fished that tournament with, when his buddy saw the picture of us holding it, he called him immediately and said, "The camera worries me." I mean, it's a very tight secret. They do not want anybody to tell anything. So, unfortunately, like I said, it's not my secret to tell.
There you go. All's fair in love and war, right? What's your favorite topwater there, Nick?
Frog.
See, Clayton put Whopper Plopper, and I knew that Nick had way too much class to be putting the Whopper Plopper as his favorite one right there.
Man, that is Whopper Ploppers. I've caught fish on them. I don't mind catching fish on them. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just not my thing, I guess. I would rather throw a tiny torpedo than a Whopper Plopper.
I like Nick more and more every time he comes on. Like, this guy's he's throwing a wacky. He don't like the Whopper Plopper. Class act guy. We're going to root for him to win the NPFL this year. Just on that alone right there. David Fritz said that a lot of pros don't actually use their sponsors' baits, but they promote them during weigh-ins. Do you agree? And just from my talking to him, I've always been told that and I don't know what your situation is, but let's say a pro goes to a certain lake and there is another brand of baits that will work better on that lake, as long as they communicate effectively with their sponsor, generally it's not a problem. Am I off on hearing this, or what do you think?
I'm going to tell you right now that the top 10 baits that you see and 90% of the photos that you see at the end of the Derby is not the top 10 baits that the people caught fish on. Usually it's, unless you were on camera and people seen it clear as day and there just is no stretching it, most of those guys are not going to tell you exactly what they caught them on. They're gonna fib just a little bit. That's kind of the secret in the pocket, the one little bait, the little thing that they got to keep to themselves. But the question being, I guess, at hand is what would your sponsor say? So, I'm doing some stuff with RoboWorm and Yamamoto and them and GSM this year, but it's stuff that I use. So I've got confidence in that, and I'm probably going to use it anyway. And I know that they've got a great hinge minnow, but I also know that if I go to Hartwell or Lanier, that there's some, special little colors of flukes. I've got them from you before that are pretty legit.
Yeah.
And I think nobody's ever told us. I've never had a contract that said I can't use X, Y, or Z, that I can only use this one. But if I could talk about it and I got something that's really close, I mean, I'm not going to blow it as big out of proportion as, like, say, a classic a few years back with a red crankbait that was, way different. So, I mean, not that bad with that many people watching. I mean, that's a pretty big stretch of the truth there. So
I got it. And I think a lot of people realize that too. I think for the most part, you know what's happening. Robert says the problem of making baits is the addiction gets expensive. No doubt about that. The time in doesn't matter if you enjoy what you do. It's a gratification of working it the way you wanted to, or getting that personal best that makes it all worth it at the end. And he's fishing for money too. So, I mean, too, at the end of the day, I would imagine you're making this to help further that cause along too. I know you enjoy doing it, and I know you like to tinker. You're talking about all the things you do, but I mean, sometimes when you're making a bait, you're like, okay, this would work on this situation on this lake. Am I wrong? Is that a stretch?
No, because it may even be rods. I mean, Kistler makes a great rod. They put the hook hanger up in front of the reel seat. I actually like it down between the foot, so I usually move mine. So I tinker with everything. I tinker with my rod, even though the rods are great. I don't like it up there in front of the spool. I like them to be down on the rod handle. I feel like they get hung up less. You can put your rod socks and stuff on, but all companies make their pretty much that I know of. I mean, there's a few probably that have them in different places, but same thing with the baits. If I can add any kind of value to myself with a bait company or with say Pro Guide with batteries, if I got a question or something I think that could be a little bit better or whatever, or longevity.
Mhm.
If there's something I feel like I can do better by all the tinkering I do and that I can help with, man, I'm all about it. So
I got you. Cranking and Yanking has a question about the tube. Always Texas area question mark. Why not a tube jig? I would assume he's talking about with an exposed hook.
I think in rocky places, I think smallmouth fishing. So we used to do, I mean, I'm sure guys have heard of snapping a tube. We used to fish them. It was just like, remember stroking a jig? Do you ever hear about that? Like up in Kentucky Lake on the ledges when that was a big thing, a 3/4 ounce jig, and you stroke it and then you tight line it and you feel the jig go back to the bottom and then you stroke it. It was almost like spoon fishing. Like casting a spoon, but same thing with the tube. When a tube has got the lead head in there, they have a tendency to spiral. And I think for smallmouth and spotted bass both, that's pretty good, especially if you're fishing bluffs and stuff. You could put a 3/16 or an 1/8 ounce head on a bigger tube, or I think back in the day it was what fat salty gets it. I think is what they were, or salty specials or something. Gets it. But anyway, the guys threw those out there, and they would, or even on one of them bullet shaped heads, and they'd stick it in there and it would spiral down in a circle, almost like a smacked dying bait fish or whatever, and they'd catch it on the fall.
I'm sitting here thinking because I'm looking at the comments too. Guys going, I've never seen a tube in a tackle shop, things like that. Honestly, it is not a big player in our local tackle shops. How about that? And it might be something guys need to think about. I mean, you can do a tube. Like I've heard guys like even drop shotting with a tube. Have you heard of guys doing things like that or pulling them on a Carolina rig, things like that?
Yep. Yeah, I've heard of everything from putting the those foam earplugs in them and Carolina rigging them so they float up off the bottom, float the hook. And put your scent in the backside of them on the foam. I've heard, like I said, guys put Alka-Seltzer tablets in them and shake them on the beds or put them on a bed like that Alka-Seltzer tablet bubble. I mean, all this stuff's coming back. You guys remember reading and seeing all this stuff in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I think if guys would get them and try them and don't go buy 4.5 and 5-inch and 6-inch tubes, big fat ones, and then go down to Logan Martin and expect to just knock them out of the park. But you might go down there with a 2-inch tube or a Great Lakes Finesse tube that's 1.5 inches, 2 inches long, and put that on the little head and drag that around. That's as crawfishy as it gets. So
he's bringing up my redneck past and some of the guys I grew up with. Anytime somebody says Alka-Seltzer and things like that on a bed and all that, I'm like, I've seen Alka-Seltzer put in so many different things to try to catch bed and bass back in the 80s and all that. Tony, you ever done that? Yeah, not the Alka-Seltzer, not the Alka-Seltzer, but the foam, like putting like a foam ear thing to get it to float.
No, not any of that. But I mean,
he's like, my tube fishing box is getting like bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I got to go to Hobby Lobby to fish tubes. It sounds like so.
Go buy stock in Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, but why did the tube fall off? I mean, I mean, everybody that I've asked the question several times on social media, and they're like, "Dude, tube catches." I'm like, why did it fall off? What reason behind it?
The beaver, Reaction Innovation, Sweet Beaver.
I guess so.
The beaver came out. I mean, can you imagine being anywhere when that beaver came out? It's like, man, you got some of these beavers. You got to be flipping a beaver, and you couldn't get a hold of Heron's baits fast enough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then you turn around and so the tube gets put in the box, and now the beaver gets put on. And I'm as guilty of it. That's when I transitioned, or how I transitioned. Then it was the beaver, and then it was Strike King. It was a structure bug, and it kind of moved over, and then Yamamoto come out, with some baits that were pretty similar, the cowboy and actually their first one was their little creature, little twin tail grub with the backwards, actually had some sidearms on it, like a, what was that? The brush hog. But the brush hog was before the brush hog took play, or was in play way before the tube was.
Right.
As far as in the bass fishing community. Now the crappie guys and stuff, that they probably have an argument to have with me about that. So
I got you. Father Tom wants to know how you're keeping a rattle in your tube.
I use a 7mm rattle. It's a big rattle. It's a single glass rattle. You can get them from Zoom. You can get them from McCoy's. There's several different companies out there that make a big glass buckshot rattle. And when you jam those in there, it almost like creates a suction and they won't come out.
Okay. And then speaking of rattles, your frogs, do you ever put rattles in them?
Only when I'm fishing cheese. When I'm fishing that yellow slimy cheese up on top, and then usually at that, kind of at that point, we cut the tails and everything off of them. Most of that is one for noise, but two, most of it's for weight to get the frog to push down on the mat. So the fish, when they blow through it, it's, they kind of know where it's at. I think they get it a little easier.
Gotcha. Now, Eric asks, and I think you mentioned this earlier, are you a tackle tinkerer, modified guy? If so, which I believe we can say yes, he is, are there any solid modifications you like that you can share? So let's just pick a bait. How about a crankbait? Just say like a Little John, rock crawler, DT, whatever. Is there a modification or two you can share to maybe help them get a little more movement or something like that?
I'm not a great big tinker. I don't use oversized hooks on my crankbaits. I think a lot of guys mistake and put oversized hooks on there thinking that the fish won't throw them. I almost feel like a little smaller hook on a crankbait. I feel like I lose less fish. I don't know why that is. I feel like that little thinner wire, because most of the time when a fish hits a crankbait and you're cranking it anyway, it's just the rod just loads up and you just pull. You know what I mean? It's not like they're exploding on it or you're flipping and you're driving a hook home. I really feel like that's it. I mean, if Fritz is on here, that boy he's forgot more about crankbait fishing than I could ever think about telling anybody. But I was listening to him talk here a while back, and he was talking about colors on crankbaits and what the fish really see, just the top or just the bottom. The sides never really matter. You could have, like, I think he's saying you could have like 2 or 3 color crankbaits and probably catch all the fish you'd ever catch on a crankbait. So
with that statement, while you were talking, it just popped into my mind. How much time do you spend listening to other guys on other shows or their videos for like little tips like that?
So I drive quite a bit. I like listening to these podcasts. We got a lot of friends that are fishing. I like listening to them. Want to make sure they don't talk bad about me or anything on there. But
for sure.
I do. I like tinker and stuff. I even like some of these guys that are no-name guys that are messing around in their garage, building absolutely nothing. I'm going to try and build a bait out of a piece of cedar today, I like watching those. Probably one of my favorite guys to go watch or to be around when he's tinkering and painting and stuff and working on baits is Mickey Ellis, which is 316 Lure Company. So he's just old school biker, rough, but him. I mean, he's one of the nicest guys that as long as you never got ice bad size, one of the nicest guys. I mean, that guy has no secrets. He'll tell you everything he knows about that stuff. I mean, he loves seeing people catch fish on his baits and making their own baits. That's what he's all about. So
I like it. Now you're with Pro Guide Batteries. So we do have a battery question. Why is such a price difference between brands that seem to offer the same features? And I imagine, that's with a lot of companies.
I don't know. If I had to venture to guess, I would say that the company size, company longevity, startup money. I think if I was just starting a battery company, think about this. If I was just starting a battery company and I'm going to put Nick Brown's custom lithium batteries out there tomorrow, how much money is it going to cost me in tooling to set up this plant or whatever to build these batteries and get them all and then produce a warranty and then be able to, fix batteries or warranty batteries out if I need to, and what you're going to have in stock and the technology and everything that goes into these batteries and the stuff that's even beyond my comprehension that, I call the guys at Pro Guide. I'm like, hey, my battery's doing this. What's up? And then they're just, they're Johnny on the spot about answering it. That's what they do. But I think a lot of it has to do with battery companies. Pro Guide's been in business for freaking ever. And, to offer, 10 to 12 years on batteries and the technology that's in them and all the little gadgets. I mean, you can't get any more gadgets. You get 3 positive, 3 negative legs on a Pro Guide, and you get, they're Bluetooth connected, and you get a startup button on them. So, I mean, you can jump them off if you need to, or they got a little bit of reserve power in them. So they got everything that you could possibly want. I mean, if you really went down the list, and this would be a 45-minute conversation about what those batteries have to offer. So I think that those people putting all those in there functions to help the batteries, longevity, to help sell the batteries, to offer the anglers more, to offer more reliability. And like I said, just having the tooling and having it set up and just having somebody work on the next best thing all the time, and not being just a boat battery company. I mean, they sell batteries for everything, but most of these people do. I mean, all the battery companies do, but that are very big. But I think a lot of the little ones that are a lot more expensive, I don't think the battery's still plastic. They still got lithium in them. I mean, what's about their battery that makes it better? If you took the battery apart, what are you going to see inside that makes it better? That's my question.
I know there was one company that they were down at ICAST, and I think they were based out of Georgia, but they were moving to another location, whatever. Anyway, and I went to look at their reviews and stuff, and they had like software in their batteries. Like if they stopped doing something, you had to have it reprogrammed to even charge. Like it had a computer system in it. And it was like, okay, I quit looking at that battery really quick. When I started reading the reviews, I'm like, I don't need to have to send my battery back to have it reprogrammed like a car, or whatever nowadays. And it was wild.
I think I remember you talking about that.
Yeah,
I thought you
I
brought
won't
it up.
say the name on here because, like I said, I know they were a Georgia company, but I don't know if they moved or not. But they were coming back out after having a big debacle with that computer system that was in the batteries, and they were trying to make it right.
Well, okay, so since we're on batteries, electronics, now you're with Garmin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me your battery setup in your boat, like what you have running.
I run two of the new 36 volt alphas, and then I've got a big, it's basically a 150. It's a big lithium battery. It's a standalone battery that I'm running just my electronics on, and then I run an AGM on my motor. I still not super confident about putting the lithiums on the big motors, and I know the motor companies actually kind of prefer that. Seems to me like they prefer that you don't run a lithium on there, so I'm just going to stick with that program. Trent at Sonar Pros, Trent, he's sponsor of the show, and he rigs and takes care of my boat every year and does a bang up job.
So what are you running a 12 volt though for your graphs?
Yes.
And the reason I say, because there's always that big debate. I know how Trent feels. Trent feels your graphs are only going to pull so much. They're only going to work at 12. A lot of guys are putting these 16 volts with this, and there's a lot of differing opinions. But when you said you were Trent, I was say I guarantee he's got a 12 volt going to his graphs, not a 16. And I'm correct, or do you?
You are correct. But here's something that I always thought about because I thought the same thing. And mostly what I feel like you got with the 16 volt was brightness. I feel like maybe it was brighter. I don't feel like the signal was any stronger. The ones I've seen with those, I felt like that the picture might have been brighter. But let me ask you this: if that piece of electronics, if it's running 12 volt and it's running, 96 degrees, what temperature is it running with here's what I'd like somebody to sit down is run one for an hour with a 16 volt and a 12 volt and put a thermometer on the case. I want to know what the screen temperature and what the back of the unit temperature is. Because if it's getting hot, it's going to drain the battery faster. And if you're out there and it's 106 degrees, is it going to shut off? When you pull your transducer out of the water, say you pull a Garmin out of the water, a lot of times you're moving from spot to spot. If it's 107 degrees outside and there ain't no wind and it gets on there, it'll say transducer overheat. They're not meant to be pulled out of the water and sat there and just run and clicked all the time. And if you're adding more juice to it, is that going to be a factor? Probably not, because there's no, not really a big draw power going to the transducer itself, I don't think. But I may be just talking on my butt, but I would really like to see what the temperatures are on those two units in a summer day and in a winter day, or even set up in a room when somebody turns the temperature up to 100 degrees to see what it looks like. I'd like to know.
I've heard Trent talk about that. And again, I am not smart like Trent when it comes to this, but I think he mentioned when he was on at one time that every one of those units, it might be a step down transducer or something, whatever it is in there, it gives it 12 volt, it gives it what it needs, whether you're putting 13 or 16 or whatever. But if you're putting all that into that transformer, I said transducer, that transformer, it has to be putting off heat. I think what you're saying is correct, is it not? I mean, Tony, don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
I'm not an expert.
My background was electronics and avionics in the Marine Corps, and those units are made to run on a certain voltage. They're capable of handling higher voltages, but they're stepped down, and typically they're going to have like a heat sink inside the unit that's going to dissipate that heat that builds up from that. But I mean, and I've ran. I ain't gonna lie. When Trent, one of the first shows I watched with Trent on it, he was talking about the guys running the DeWalt batteries and stuff like that for their 20 volt lithiums, and I was one of those guys. And after that show, I ripped them out of the boat. I went back to a regular 12-volt battery. Number one, because they're not made to. They're not classified as on the water. I mean, they're just not made for that. And
Yeah,
number two,
so Trent understands that too, because he come. I don't know if everybody knows it or not, but I mean, he came from the the audio world. He come from the cars and stuff and the amplifiers and all that. And same thing you were just talking about, all the heat sinks and what kind of power it takes. All that stuff had to be cool. If it ain't cool, it shuts off. Once it gets to a certain temperature, it goes into sleep mode because it knows it'll overheat. So I would have to say that would be the biggest downfall. Now, maybe if it ain't, then what benefit would you get from that? And I would say, just like when you look at your graph now and say mine says 13 volts. I'm getting a clean 13 volts at the front, and it just by the end of the day, it's down to 12.1. Maybe if it's at 16 at the end of the day, it'll be at 14 or 13. So maybe you're getting that higher clean steady voltage all the time, because everybody knows. I mean, lithium batteries, they don't slowly dissipate and then die like a lead acid. They go down to where they're at their bottom, and they're done. I mean, a lead would go all the way down to 10, 9, 8 and die. A lithium is going to go down to like 11.4, 11.2, and that joker's hammered. Yeah, it's done.
It's funny. I didn't have tubes and I didn't have math that we were going to be trying to do tonight, thinking of the temperature loss and all that of the batteries. But it is something. And again, that's why you take it to somebody that knows what the hell they're doing, like Trent over at Sonar Pros. You mentioned it about the other night, DIY kind of stuff. Tony, you've seen it, guys trying to rig wire. I've seen guys take drop cords, cut the ends off, and that's their electrical wire, and their boat looks like a bad home improvement project. I've seen them before. So just take it to Trent and be done with it. There was a Darian Moss braid split rings. Do you do that? Do you take any of your split rings out and use the braid, especially like on hooks? You see guys doing that all the time.
I have never tied a treble hook on. I completely understand. I completely agree with the scenario behind it, but I've never even really tried it. I didn't figure I could get the knots, small enough and tight enough in that scenario to trust that the knot would hold for me personally. And that's just me, but I could see where them things twisting around and they make so many other hooks now. I mean, they got hooks that swivel in the center. I mean, I think Ryugi or some of them Japanese companies, JDM, makes some baits that completely spin, or I have done double on topwater baits. I've done double not the regular split rings, but the oval ones. I've done double of those before to get almost a complete rotation before the hook tears out.
I don't trust my damn Alberto knot, much less try to tie my hooks on.
That's just I wanted to ask you. Last time we talked, I was telling you asked me about a knot, and it was the RP knot, and I told you about that. You said you're going to look it up. Did you ever look that up and try to tie it?
Probably not. If I'm being honest, probably not. I just said that because it was right in the middle of the
his ADD didn't let him remember it.
Yeah, listen, it lasted in my head about 2 seconds, and then I'm on to the next thing. But let me write it down. What'd you say? RP knot?
Yeah.
All right, Tony. Tony, it's your job this week.
I better write it down too. Then
stay on my ass to figure out the RP knot, and then I will. Once I see it and try to do it, I will text you there, Nick, and say, "Okay, it ain't worth it."
Your line will break below it or above it before it breaks the knot. It in all the testing and stuff. It is the strongest braid to fluoro knot that they make, and you don't have to take off your shoes and use your toes and your mouth and everything else to tie it. I literally could sit down on the boat and tie that thing in like 20, 30 seconds, and it's back up and fishing.
Yeah, you're not a boozy FG knot guy.
No, I don't like.
I say that for Tony. Look at Tony because he is right there.
I don't like it. I don't like the clunky clack going out there. I feel like I'm casting barbed wire when I put that thing in my.
I got you right there. RP knot. Everybody be YouTubing that too, or Googling it, trying to figure it out as well. On an average tournament day, how many hard baits, spinner baits, chatter baits, spoons, etc., do you lose from getting snagged? That's a good question. Nobody's ever asked that before. I guess pros don't do much effort to save lures. Maybe, maybe not. Yes, no.
I think you'd be surprised at that. We get a confidence thing. If I got a crankbait, say like I got an OSP, like a depths crankbait, and I'm using it and it's in Matt Shad and I've got a box with 25 of them in there, if I'm catching them on that particular crankbait, I firmly believe that a crankbait can come out tuned. And if you've got 100 of them, I believe there's 1 or 2 that are special in that 100. And I think every one of you can look at your boxes and go, if you had 6 DT6s in there, there is one that is all chewed up and you're going to grab that one before you grab a fresh one every time because you know it's a fish catcher.
And I would do a crack in it.
Me too. I will literally do everything in my power to fetch that bait back. Now, soft plastics and stuff, I break it off. Buzz baits, all that stuff, I try not to break any of that stuff off. I think all these guys, I think you'd be surprised at how many of these guys really get in their head about their baits, and there's just no way they're gonna let it go.
I like that answer. All right, let me ask you this. Be honest with me. How many times do you blow a reel out during a day at tournament? You're a professional backlash. I mean, does it happen? I know it happens, but probably not as often as when I'm fishing.
I think we're probably all about the same. You know what I mean? I don't think you guys are any different than we are. I mean, we're all human, and I think it just depends on the weather, the wind, if I'm skipping, if I'm pitching, if I'm just making bomb casts or whatever. I think it's a lot of it's just the day. But I mean, we're all human, and the reels are mechanical, and I don't think there's anything you can really do. I think everybody has professional overruns, no matter how you look at it. Now, what I would like to really decrease in my lineup is flipping wind knots in my braided line on my spinning rods. I have tried everything, and I just constantly fighting wind knots.
I'm like that. I feel a lot better now, though, that he says basically he backlashes. I guarantee you don't do it as often as I do, but still the fact that you do it and admit to it. And I stuck with wind knots too. Well, on some of them. Couple of brands I don't, but there's a couple of brands out there I can't help but win not.
Yeah. So I do believe that. I believe that there is a brand or two of fishing line that win not's way worse than some of the others.
Oh, absolutely. Right. So I got another question. Are you a reline every tournament, reline your reels every tournament, or do you, hey, it's working, I'm going to fish it the way it is?
Every tournament, and the night before we start I put fresh line on before we start, or the actual tournament itself. I will go into the tournament with old line that's on there into the practice. I will run everything. I don't tie a ton of stuff on. I got a pretty good idea what I might want to use when I get to the tournament. I start using that stuff because I don't care if I lose fish in practice.
Right.
And then after practice is over, then the rods I'm going to use, if it's 8 rods, and all 8 of those are going to get fresh. And then there's probably going to be 6 or 8 backups in there of similar, in case I break a rod or bust a reel or blow one up, that I can just grab one quick and go back after it. It's all about time when we're fishing.
Yeah.
So I'll expound off that then. So you said you don't mind, breaking one off during practice. So you're setting the hook on fish, and if so, how many fish in the location are you setting the hook on, and then going, okay, I need to move to a different spot, and I know they're here, I'm going to go to a different spot? Is it 2? I hear some guys say 2, 3.
If Jesse Wise is on here right now, he's on there going, "You better not lie." So we had a dinner last year when we were at Douglas, and we went to Todd Goad's house, and there was a bunch of us, and me and Jesse fought for an hour arguing about how many fish you should stick in an area, because he's like, "Man, I jack every one of them," and I'm like, "Dude, I catch one and then I shake. If I'm flipping, I'm shaking them. If they feel like they're good, or if I catch 1 or 2 and they're good, I'm shaking them. I got confidence that there's fish there that I didn't mess with, and I'm going to come back and catch them." And Barron's like, "Nah, yeah, sometimes I catch them. Just depends, And he was kind of 50-50. Jesse was 100%. I paid my money to fish. I'm going to catch every fish that bites. And I'm not that way. I like to shake them unless I just know that there's a lot of fish in the area, and I'm trying to check size, or maybe I'm in an area that I may not want to fish, but I know somebody else might be going to fish it. So I'll catch
you go. There's one of those secrets, guys.
little defense.
Hey, it works.
You know what? That is actually very good. That's another thing that don't get talked about much.
Yeah.
Those little things. We were there, and Hackney was with us, and Jesse, he put Hackney on the spot. He's Hackney. He says, "How many you catch?" And he's like, I like him to get it in the goozle. I want to see it. I want to see him. I'm going to let him get it in the goozle. So he said, it don't matter. They're going to eat it so bad. He said, I got to catch him.
I like that, but you know what? I never thought about that. Like Tony, if you and I are fishing, and I knew you had a fishing tournament against each other, and I knew you had a point that you absolutely loved, and maybe we didn't get along that well.
Yeah.
Going there the last day of practice or something, and just absolutely raking that place.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not against the rules.
No.
It's-
I mean,
you know.
and it's funny we say that because you did that one clip of Hibden talking about them blowing that spot out, and it was a big deal in the MLF tournament or whatever tournament it was. They done that, and he was like, "We used to do that on. I mean, that was common practice. If you're not going to catch it, I'm going to catch it."
That's exactly right.
So
And
I think it's great.
different time, right? Different time back then. Now, I don't know if he's talking about this being an RP knot or not, but he goes, it's also known as an improved Alberto knot.
Yeah, I think it's Royal RP is Royal Polymer or Royal.
Yeah, I remember looking it up the last time you said it's Royal something, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know how to tie it. It works really good for me. So,
you know what? This is a cool thing too. Coleman, have really enjoyed Nick tonight. Thanks for all the info and the positive attitude. And listen, Nick, this is your third time coming on, right? What was the name of that fella you was on with that one time?
Joseph Webster.
That's his name, Webster.
You had me. I think the very first time I was on was right after I won Lake of the Ozarks, and Webster got second, and he wasn't happy about it.
And, I didn't see his name. Is he? What's he doing these days?
I believe he's fishing the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. Is what he's doing. I seen him at Hartwell when we were there because he qualified for the championship the previous year, so he was at Hartwell with us. But other than that, I haven't talked to him a terrible lot. I seen him at Toho last year because I was basically just breaking my boat in and wanted something to do, so I went down, jumped in the Invitational down there before our season started, and hung out with him and Jeremy Lawyer a little bit, and on the water, just kind of talking, and but I haven't seen him much since then. I think he's just fishing invitationals and having fun.
Yeah, he was a good interview. I like that. Now, tell me what you think about this. Oh, Ron Swinford's one of our smarter.
He's a smart dude.
He's smart. He's smart. Let's just leave it at that. Very smart. Nice guy. Very smart. A hack to help with wind knots. When you are spooling the line on, use a dryer sheet, fold it over a few times and wet it, then run the braid between the layers, and then it goes to the next one. Then about once every 4 trips, take a dryer sheet and rub it on the braid, takes the static out of it. Now, Ron, how the hell did you figure that one out?
Well, that Dollar General just sold out of Bounce.
So, but here's the thing: is that you've heard me say it 100 times, Tony. If you've heard me say it once, there's always one guy that does something for the first time ever, and so somewhere down the line, a guy's getting wind knots, and he's like, I'm gonna try a dryer sheet of all things.
That dude has got the nicest smelling rod locker on the planet.
Yeah, right. Lavender. It's all lavender and everything.
I had my worst wind knot.
I mean, it makes sense. Back in the day, I remember my granddad when I was growing up fishing, we'd get you'd have regular mono, and you know how you pull it off the reel after set on there for a month, it'd be all curled up. You know, it all looked like little redhead girls' curls. And he used to tie it to a tree or whatever, and he'd run it out there, and he'd say, "Here, hold this." And then he had a little piece of he'd put reel oil on a little piece of cloth, and he'd pinch it between his fingers, and he'd walk up and down that line 3 or 4 times, and it'd re-oil that line, and it would straighten it right back out like it was brand new on the spool, and then it's good to go for another month.
Yeah. Ron says braid is fabric, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And I can see Ron probably ironing all his clothes nice and creased and everything. There's no wrinkled clothes with Ron and everything. I've never seen him with a wrinkled shirt, so that it makes sense.
Listen,
I want Ron to get an ohm meter, and I want to see how much charge there is in that line.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I just blew up a reel this year, the worst I've ever done one with cast braid on it, and I've never had an issue with cast doing that to me. And I had to cut it out. It was bad. I mean, I was like, I got to cut this out of here. That was expensive. So I'm going to go buy a $2 box of dryer sheets. What are you talking about?
So a Royal Polaris knot is the technical name for the knot you guys are talking about. And then on what you just said, Tony, Eric says this. Now we got to stop at Home Depot, Dollar General, and Hammond's on the way to the lake.
Right.
We're just trying to help you guys out. And so how many guys
I would say you have to do it a little bit more often with the dryer sheet thing. I mean, you'd be surprised. Maybe it's something else in the dryer sheet. Maybe it's the chemicals that's in them or something that gets on the line that just takes and unwaxes, or maybe it untwists it or something. He may be onto something. You never know till you try. I ain't afraid of trying anything, but I would say it's all the DC reel users that got that energy in them reel.
God, I hate the sound of that reel.
We're gonna see dryer sheets floating around the lakes next week.
That is exactly why I hate the Whopper Plopper, a DC reel, and that. Blah, 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 blah. Trust me, I still hear it in my head. All right, let me ask you this: frozen guides. What do you do? What's the hack? You just stick it down in water? Or is there any kind of pre-treat you do?
Pam.
Just cook and spray it.
Yep.
So now you gotta go by the Ingles. So, and then what did Robert say right here? Next will be the spray women use to help frizzy their hair and all that. Listen, guys will try anything. Now, I mean, take WD-40. Everybody knew back in the day, fish attracted and all that. But you see guys, I have seen guys anyway, sprayed on like their joints. It'll help you to help with aches and pains and all that. Somebody will try something somewhere, somehow for the first time.
You're supposed to refrigerate fluorocarbon, from what I've been told. You're supposed to put it on when you put it in water. I mean, I've heard all kind of different stuff with different things.
All right, what's the craziest thing you've heard, Nick? Somebody say you need to do this for whatever piece of equipment or bait. Craziest thing you ever heard?
That dryer sheet one's pretty wild. Be honest with you, there'll be something come to me, but there's been a time or two somebody's told me something. They're like, "Oh, you got to, rig this lizard backwards or whatever, so it falls in the bush in reverse, or just something silly like that." You know what I mean? I can't recall right off the top of my head anything that's just been outlandish. I'm probably that guy that brings outlandish stuff to the table. I'm like, you got to do it like this, and Barron and Jesse are like, "You're stupid. Just do you, and we'll do us."
Right, and it got public service announcement again. Publix is the official grocery store of the live well. So if you're going to stop by one, you stop by Publix because Father Time said so. And also, too, it's got the cleanest bathrooms of any grocery store out there. So you might as well take advantage of that. Eric says, now we're never getting to the lake. Here's an interesting one. Chapstick on mono.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming up with stuff. I will tell you this. I did figure out my electric rig. Nick, I lost the plug on my live well. And it's an older boat, old cheap one. And if you take a big enough couple of swim baits, soft plastic, or bubble gum, it'll get you through a tournament. I mean, actually, my cheap ass would stop and buy Hubba Bubba. I did it for 2 tournaments in a row because my ADD would not let me remind myself to go get a new plug for my live well. And bubble gum, guys, it works. Absolutely.
I can give you guys 2 hacks that are pretty priceless on a boat. And if you're cleaning your boat up to sell it or whatever, and say you have got a compartment behind your driver's seat and it's white fiberglass in there, and you spill like say your G juice or whatever in there, it's blue and it stains it, or you got a rust stain, or your center compartment. Most guys don't know it, but Barkeeper's Friend that you get from the Dollar General in the gold container, it's just a scouring powder. Use that on a green scouring powder and a little bit of water or simple green with it, and it will polish those compartments up like white, brand spanking new. It gets it out of every crevice in there. Won't hurt it, but that's a pretty good tip. And when you said something about chapstick, guys don't know it, but if you put chapstick under your nose, under your eyelids, and around your ears, just a little bit of it, like if you're in hydrola flipping and stuff, you get on the water and you get those little hydrola gnats or whatever. Next time you're out there and you're getting pestered by the little gnats and stuff, and they're getting in your face, put a little bit of chapstick on around your eyes and your ears and stuff, and watch. They'll completely leave you alone.
Yep. And that's the same shit you're putting on your lips too. So think about that. It's driving the bugs away. I wonder why, how that works.
Yeah. And attracts the girls. Figure that one out.
Well, I'm glad you said lips and eyes and all that. You never know where a guest is going to go with a comment and all that. Serious question. Do you crimp the barb on your hook? And I wonder if that's more in pre-fishing.
I am if I'm flipping and stuff, and once I kind of know what kind of fish I'm on, I will run like just a hitchhiker. Sometimes I'll turn the barbs over. On my frogs, I strip off a little piece of, say, 16 or 18 gauge like stranded wire. I'll strip off a little 3/8 long piece of that and pull it off the wire, and then I slide that up over top of my hooks to protect my hooks and so I don't catch the fish. I use that a lot on chatterbaits and things like that too.
Wise man told me too. Almost, that tube that you get with the like stinger hooks.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about? Like on for a
Yep.
spinner bait, extra hook. You can
Yep.
put a little piece of that over the barb as well. I've heard people say that. Ask him about the new Japanese bait. Your buddy,
Ricky Morris.
yeah. What's the new Japanese bait? Now you're laughing, so it's got to be something good.
I think everybody's seen that new. That I'm not sure who's making it, but there's new Japanese bait that they're advertising all over Facebook, and it looks similar to a cover scat, and it's 100% got a little Japanese guy's stack attached to the backside that flaps when you reel it. So I told him, I said, I swear to God, that's what it looks like. You will see it. As soon as we're off here, it's now we've talked about it. It's going to pop up on your feed on TikTok or on whatever, and it's going to come up on there.
Everybody's will have that on there for sure. I haven't seen that yet. I'll
I
go.
haven't seen it.
I'm sure we will because you know the way these computers work and everything. They're listening to
yeah.
everything we say. And I was thinking this too, Robert. He was talking about. He says, it's going to crazy tan lines. It auto-corrected tunes, but tan lines when you put that chapstick around your eyes and your ears and everything like that. I can imagine it. All right, so we're getting a little later on in the show. What's your goals for 26, man? I mean, I know you can you can say the standard, hey, I want to win AOY, I want to win the championship, all that stuff. But like honestly, what are some other goals that we might not expect that you've got set for yourself personally?
I would say my goals majority of the time is like to catch check in every event. If that goes good, you put yourself in position for AOY, for the Angler of the Year spot. Winning is awesome, but that's a 1 in 130 chance, of winning against a pretty stacked field of absolute hammers. If people haven't seen the list yet, then I mean they're going to be surprised when they see it when it comes out. Or it is out, I guess, but when they do look it up, I really want to, I want to make the championship every year. That's pretty important to me. And now, even the Ultimate Anglers included, our tournaments count for that, starting with our championship. But I believe top 15 in the AOI now get to move on in the Ultimate Angler. So they've stepped it up for us a little bit too. You don't just have to be the highest finisher in the 1 of 6. You got 15 more spots that are available there. So
that's good.
I mean, I think that's good. So Tony, you got anything else for this fine young man?
So we all know the NPFL is a league that, the everyday guy can do it. How hard is it fishing professional tournaments and owning your own business, working your own, whatever you do for a living kind of thing? How hard is it really to do what you're doing and still do what you're doing, I guess?
Guys, it's not that hard. If you've got confidence and you've had a little bit of success in your local area and you can get them to let you in. I mean, they don't let everybody in. They like to vet it a little bit. They want to make sure the guys will be able to hack it and stand through the entire season so that the money don't drop for the guys that are there competing. I've been there. It's going on my 4th year. I really like it. I like the competition. I mean, to be honest with you, I custom build homes. I do get sponsorship money. I do fairly well, making some money throughout the course of the year in winnings and things like that. But to be honest with you, I think everybody blows it out of proportion. I wish I would have known a little sooner that it's not that hard to accomplish and to go out there and do. The way they spread it all out, there's a lot of big misconceptions about big tournament bass fishing when I was younger. I would have loved to do this in my 20s. I was ate up with it. But I was like, I can't afford $60,000 for entry fees and to travel and all this. I thought all that had to be paid up front. I didn't know that it was a deposit and getting accepted or qualifying. And then moving forward in the future, it's a month out in advance of every tournament. You got all year to save up the money. I mean, really, if you really put a pencil to it, it's not that hard to make it happen. You don't have to pay it all up front. I think that's where a lot of but you also shouldn't, I don't believe you should play on credit card money and stuff like that either. I think that you should either earn your way as you go and pay it as you go. And I don't think you should hang your hat on playing on house money. I don't think you should just tell yourself that I'm going to go do good in the first one. I'm going to use that check for the second one and that check for the third one. There's guys out there that can do that. I'm not one of them. I don't win. I don't cash a check every tournament. So I fish my way. I fish the way I want to fish, and I hope for the best outcome. Do the best I can, and with the cards that I'm dealt. But be honest with you, I don't. I think there's a lot of guys that would love to do it. There's probably some hammers out there that are afraid to go try because they don't want to, be embarrassed or be upside down or whatever. Ricky Morris. I mean, that dude called me 75 times before he signed up. I mean, he was interested in it, but he wasn't sure and he didn't know how it worked. And, I talked it over with him and there's other guys and some pretty big names that come over this year that call me. And they're like, well, what do you think of it? And how do you like it? And I know you've been there a long time. You've had some success. And what do you think of it? And it's just different. Even the guys that are on the elites and stuff, there's a lot of them that wish that all the tournament trails were like this. They feel like that it's more of your local hobby tournament or I guess bass club tournament. Everybody hangs out, everybody kind of talks. We're not just one great big crowd. Everybody, I mean, there's cliques. There's guys that hang out with certain guys. There's older group that hang out together and guys that travel together and housemates that run together and things like that. But it's a little bit different. It is a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I've been blessed enough to go do it. I'm super happy for all the sponsors and stuff that helped me, and we've talked about quite a few of those tonight, and not just shameless sponsor plugs, but I mean, I'm proud to be with them. I'm not with anybody that I wasn't already with and buying their stuff before I started. So, it's just really cool to be able to go do it. It takes away from you a little bit when you are standing in line and some kid walks up with a giant Rapala minnow and asks you to sign it. You know what I mean? It takes you back just a little bit that they know who you are and they follow you or they like you or they like something funny that you said or whatever, or they laughed at you on stage or you're the only guy that shook their hand when you come off stage or gave them a fist bump, but right. I don't know. I enjoy going out and having fun and hanging out with everybody and cutting up. And I've always been that way. And I really like the competition. I want to know if I can catch them better than everybody else every time I go out. But I would say if you've ever wanted to do it, and you've got the means to do it, I would not be afraid to do it. If you don't have the means to do it, then work at it for a year and save you the means to do it. So, and try and figure it out. There's a ways, if you want to do something bad enough in this world, there's a way to do everything. If you want to buy a house bad enough, there's a way to do it. If you want to buy a boat, there's a way to do it. You just figure it out. So, but I wish I'd have figured it out sooner and I wasn't scared. I mean, I ran scared for 30 years. Wouldn't do it because I was afraid of it.
All right. Well, on that, let me ask you this: what do you look, or in your mind, what's the future of the NPFL? How do you see it growing?
I think it's going to get bigger. I think it's going to have a feeder stream. I think the sponsors are slowly coming. They've got some announcements that we haven't even got to hear yet that I'm sure we'll hear at the first event. Not the championship, but I'm sure they'll do it at the regular event when we get to the Harris chain. I look for a feeder system to come in sooner than later because I think those feeder systems are a big part of all of these tournament trails. I think feeder system is what keeps MLF alive. I think feeder system is what keeps bass alive and keeps that money coming in to be able to pay those guys and keep the money up. And, a lot of guys complain. They're like, oh, they're dropping this, they may drop the spots back that they're paying to from 50 to 45. Oh, that's a real bummer. And that they're not paying 50. I don't know about y'all, but I don't fish for 50th. So I land down there, great. But I mean, I want to win. I'm going to fish every one of them to win. These guys that complain about that and they're like, oh, they took $2,000 off of this. I don't care. So if you're out here and you can't afford to gamble and lose that money, then you shouldn't be out here. So it really works out. I would say there's very few guys that it doesn't work out for. And some of them are really blessed to have money or have, some really good sponsors and they're playing on somebody else's money anyway. So, and most of those are not all non-endemic. Most everybody out there is fishing in the NPFL. It's got pretty good sponsorships. A lot of the guys are paying for it themselves, but if you think all them guys just because they got a boat wrappers, there's getting money handed to them hand over fist, it's not that way. So.
Right. And guys, I have to apologize. I got to listening to what Nick was saying and I didn't check the comment section. So if I missed it, I do apologize. Do you think the NPFL will stay no forward facing sonar forever?
Yes, 100%.
I like it. And there was one more I thought I saw somewhere that I missed. Do you think? No, that's right. It was in my head. Sorry. This is, dude. It's late. It's how it works, dude. One of the complaints that I've heard from a lot of people when they're talking about the legitimacy of the NPFL is that it does not have a feeder system. So once that's established, do you think in your mind that puts it right there with the other ones? Once you get that feeder system, or do you think it's right there already?
I want everybody to sit back and look at 2018 or whatever it was, 17-18, when Bass and MLF or FLW split, or BPT, MLF Bass when they did the split. Sit back and look at how many guys left, went over to MLF, pulled out of Bass. How far down the ranks did they pull? Did those people that originally come in there earn their spot? You know, did they just get asked to come over there? Same thing with MLF. There's guys that moved over there that did they really get asked, or did they just, did they just get an ask, or did they earn a spot? So, and the reason I have that argument with some guys, because some of them are like, well, say Bass Champs in Texas. If you fish in a major tournament trail, the only way they consider it a major tournament trail is if it has a feeder system. So they don't consider NPFL major tournament trail, so I'm still allowed to fish. Ricky Morris, he won the championship last year and won a new skeeter boat with his partner, and they up there on Texoma and beat up on all of us up there. But the thing is he could still fish it because he's getting back in the NPFL, or getting in it for his first time, I guess I should say.
Right.
But the thing is they say that, and I've had that same argument with Jeff that runs Bass Champs. I said, not everybody that's in professional fishing, some of them have been in there a long time, and some of them didn't have to qualify to get where they're at. Some of them just got an invite. So there's some that are still in there that just got an invite or made their way in there. So, but
listen, I get it. I mean, I know exactly where you're coming from with that. Last question. Give me one name, and I think it might be Ricky, but give me one name of somebody in the NPFL that's new this year we need to watch out for.
New this year you need to watch out for.
Yeah, name that's not on the radar, hasn't fished, maybe a new angler or something that is going to possibly cause some waves.
The only waves it'll be caused with Ricky is him getting in my way because he's trying to fish the same stuff I am. we fish a lot alike. I mean, we fish a lot of the same stuff. It's pretty uncanny that we'll go to a lake, not talk, and we'll end up in the same creek to start and not even know it. To be honest with you, for new guys, I don't know a ton of the new guys coming in. Negermeyer's coming in, which he's not a new guy. He's coming. I think he's going to be. I think he'll fit right in. I think it's going to fit his style good. But to be honest with you, Ricky will surprise you. He's worried that he's even going to cash a check this year, but I think you'll be surprised. Once he gets settled in and the nerves and stuff go away, I think he's going to do okay. I think he'll be one to watch. I'd be real surprised if he's not in the check line a lot.
Okay, well, good. That's good to know. So,
Yeah.
Listen, Nick, I appreciate you jumping on with us tonight and everything.
Yeah.
You guys in the comment section, absolutely. RM, he actually said Andy Morgan. Your buddy Ricky did down there in the comment section. You probably can't see it, but I'll pull it.
Andy Morgan, Luke Clausen. I mean, we got a lot of coming, but they're all names we already know what they can do.
That's right. That's right. But listen, like I said, third time you've been on, I enjoy it when you come on. It's a good conversation with you. And of course, we're going to be watching you. I've been keeping up with you ever since you've been on like that. And number one, we wish you success at the championship, of course. Yep. And then, of course, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic year. I think the NPFL is still my favorite league to watch. I just, for some reason, I'm attracted to them more than I am the other ones. So it's a good league full of good people. Fuller's a little different, but we can deal with Fuller, right?
Yeah. He's all in his own little box.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Did you guys see the post that they made today?
No, actually, I have not.
So they're giving a bass cat away.
Oh, no. That is good. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
So I didn't read into it completely 100%, but I believe that any merch that you buy, I believe it's mostly merch and stuff from the online stores and things. I believe you get for every $1, you get an entry fee or an entry. And then they're going to give away a bass cat here at I believe sometime towards the end of the season.
Wow.
So that'll be, yeah, they partnered up with that company. It starts with an S or whatever. I can't remember what its name is, but they do a lot of that sweepstake giveaway boat kind of stuff. So, you know, boat trucks, things like that. So usually got to work with somebody on that because there's a lot of technical difficulties when it comes to drawings and giving them big stuff like that. So
yeah,
Absolutely.
I think
That's good.
I think there'll be one to watch. I think it's gonna be an interesting year. We got a pretty good schedule. Winter's kind of pushing everything back a little bit. So I mean, we're going to some new lakes. Some of us, I'd say 90% of the field's never been to Lake George. So
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
yeah. I mean, it's up there right next to St. Lawrence, or right, you know, it's up in that country. So I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great schedule. It's a great league, and of course, you know, it's I have not met a guy in the NPFL I don't like. So every time one of you guys come on, you know, it just shows something about the league that's got great guys, and we're going to be pulling for you and watching what you're doing. So I appreciate you coming on tonight, and make sure you put a shout out in at Kistler. You know, Kistler Rods, the official rod of the live well, and you know, Bascat and all that. Get us, you know, give me a brand new ride, man.
I bet you we can figure out how to get one over there too to put your hands on. That way you can brag about it. I'll be sure to let him know to check out the video and watch it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You said where there's a will, there's a way.
that's right.
That's what you said. So like that. So anyway, hey, listen, dude, appreciate you joining us, guys. Join me tomorrow at 12 on the lunch break, and we can talk about Nick behind his back now that he won't be on and everything. But I think you guys have enjoyed Nick. It's always a good time when you come on. So, buddy, I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, give me that thumbs up, man. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
No, hey guys, it is always fun. I always look forward to doing these with you. And once we get to the championship, I'll get Hank Terry, Barrett Adams, and Jesse Wise with me, and we are going to do a house. I think we'll probably cut up and have a pretty good time and talk some fishing, and maybe give you guys a little bit of an idea what to look forward to watching that championship.
We might have to make that an adult swim.
Yeah, that's probably may have to have a rating. May have to have a rating on it. But it's you know. Fullcom's got the new media and stuff out for NPFL, and they've really been working on it and dialing stuff in. So, and they've done a lot of stuff in the off season. So I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to end up doing with their production for this year. So I think it's going to
wait to see that.
That is absolutely awesome. All right,
you can't do nothing but get better.
Yep.
I love it. Nick, you have a great rest of your night and everything. Guys out there, hey, we appreciate you joining us. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all the stuff the cool kids do. Join me tomorrow at 12, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So you guys be good. And Nick, I'll see you later, buddy. Appreciate you.
You guys.
See you.